Hi, welcome to Simple Report. Today we're getting our very first look at the brand new VaporFi Rebel 3 starter kit. VaporFi has just released the latest in its line of Rebel devices, the Rebel 3 starter kit. Now the Rebel 3 features the 5.8 mil capacity Rebel 3 tank with a 0.5 ohm organic cotton coil installed and a spare one in the box, and the 3000 mAh Rebel 3 battery. The VaporFi website says the Rebel 3 is a small device packing a big punch. And it goes on to say, this device rebels against everything you know about vaporizers and tanks. Many people associate big devices with big clouds, but with the Rebel 3, that is not the case. And we're going to find out today as we get our first look at the Rebel 3 starter kit from VaporFi. I'm going to change the camera angle, go over some of the specs, how you put it together, how you fill the tank, let the coil get nice and saturated with e-juice, come back here, and then do a very first vape with the Rebel 3 starter kit from VaporFi. This is how the VaporFi Rebel 3 starter kit comes packaged. You have your owner's manual, the tank, and the battery on the top of the box, and underneath you also have a micro USB charging cable. Very nice of them to include a wall adapter, and then there is a spare 0.5 ohm organic cotton coil in the box as well. Let's set that aside here for a minute. Now to fill the tank, you take it off the mod if you want to, with the battery. You simply untwist or unscrew the atomizer base. And sometimes this is easier to do if it's on a battery, but there we go. And there's the coil. Now VaporFi in the manual suggests for the very first time you use a coil that you take that out, unscrew it, and that you prime it with juice. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And there's that coil. Let me get a better shot of that coil for you. So we're going to prime it with a little bit of Comet e-juice. That's a Nova Juice flavor, by putting just a drop or two right in the center of the coil. And then I also like to put a drop or two where the cotton is showing through on those e-juice ports. Looks like there are 4 of them in total, which is a healthy amount. Then, I think I've got some tissue up here, because my hands are going to get sticky from doing it that way. Just reattach or reinsert the coil into the base, screw it in nice and tight. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. And then we fill the tank, being careful not to get any in that center tube. It's a very wide tank. It's deceivingly wide because it looks like it wouldn't hold that much juice, but it does. 5.8 mil. I'm going to go ahead and you want to be careful not to overfill. So that should do us. And once we get it back on the base, be able to show you better. And then you just screw that base back on there. Make sure it's on nice and tight. There, now the window is nice and big. I could have put more juice in there, but I didn't want to take a chance on overflowing it. And then you just, it's a spring-loaded connector on the bottom of the tank and on the battery. Screw that in there. That's ready to go. And then to turn the unit on, well, first before I do that, there is adjustable airflow on the tank. Right now it's closed all the way. You can see that there. We just spin that clockwise That's wide open. There's airflow on both sides of the tank. We'll set it about halfway for our first vape, and then we'll play with it a little bit. So that's about halfway open there. Then to turn that on, then there's going to be a little light. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Right there, I believe, is where there's going to be a little light. You turn it on by clicking that fire button 5 times. Yep, there's a light. Now when the battery is full, according to the manual, it will blink slowly when it's fully charged, and it will blink more quickly when it's time to recharge. And you can recharge it via that USB port. I dropped my pointer. Right there on the side of the battery, which is included along with the wall charger. And it does have pass-through capability so that you can charge it while you're still vaping, although they do say that slows down the how long it takes to fully charge the device. Now I did fully charge it before getting ready for this video, so we should be ready to go. I'm just going to let that sit and soak into that organic cotton coil, make sure it's nice and saturated, and we'll change the camera angle and come back with the first vape. Very simple, not a lot to it, but I'm very excited to see how this is going to perform with that 3,000 mAh battery. The VaporFi Rebel 3 Starter Kit. Well, I think we've waited probably just about long enough. I think the manual says to give it like 10 minutes for it to fully soak into that coil, so you want to make sure that you've saturated it the way we showed you by dripping some e-juice directly into the center of the coil, especially for a brand new coil, and then let it sit for a little while. We have the airflow control and about halfway open, and that's the only other setting on this thing. You turn it on and you vape. It's very simple, supposedly very powerful though, with that 3,000 mAh battery and the 0.5 ohm organic cotton coil. We have the Comet e-juice in there from Nova Juice. Let's give the Rebel 3 Starter Kit a first vape. That isn't bad. I'll tell you what, a fair amount of vapor. The flavor is pretty nice. My guess is if we let it sit a little longer, we're going to get a little fuller flavor out of it as it's fully saturated that cotton. I may have jumped the gun. It may have been 7.5 minutes instead of the 10. Always follow the instructions in the manual. A little airier. I did open up the airflow control all the way. I kind of like an airy vape myself, but that's up to you. I mean, you can close this thing and there, like I said, 2 airflow controls, one on either side, so you've got a fair amount of flexibility on how you set this thing. The Rebel 3 Starter Kit from VaporFi, I like the way this thing feels. It's solid and it's not little and puny like a pen, but the cylinder shape, this is like 3 or 4 steps up from a normal cylinder pen vape, but it is very simple to operate because there's no settings that you have to mess with. So if you're looking for something simple, easy, you fill it up, you charge the battery, you vape, I don't know how you can go wrong with the Rebel 3 from VaporFi. Oh yeah. I'm starting to taste some of the berry coming through in that juice. Comet is a peanut butter and berry kind of a flavor. That is very nice. I really like this. I like the width of the drip tip on the Rebel 3 tank. I'm going to be using this for the next week or 2 or so. I've got a few other things in the queue that we have to get to during that time as well, but I'm going to be using this fairly extensively. The VaporFi Rebel 3 Starter Kit, and then come back with a full in-depth review. So if you follow 7 Report on Twitter or Facebook, you'll find out that way when that review has been posted. And I will have a link in the description section of this video on our YouTube channel and the body of the article on our website, 7report.com, to the product page on vaporfi.com for the Rebel 3 Starter Kit, so you can find out more about it or order one for yourself if you don't want to wait for the review, just basing it on what we got here on our very first vape. Thank you again so much to our friends from VaporFi for providing the Rebel 3. Full disclosure, VaporFi is also, in addition to being a review product supplier and advertiser on 7 Report. And thank you for being with us today on 7 Report. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the website as well, 7report.com. We update both of them all the time. Hardware, e-juice reviews, informative articles, and a whole lot more. So I hope that you will keep coming back. And thanks for being with us again today on 7 Report.